All right, we're going to do a little exercise. This is going to be something that we've not done before. It's a little bit of a quiz to see if you understand the rules as I've been talking about them lately. The first thing we're going to do, everyone grab a piece of paper or something to write on. First thing we're going to do is I want you to pick out, you're going to have to guess a little bit on the time because you don't actually see the times yourself. But I want you to guess the times for aggressive long and conservative long and aggressive short and conservative short on the S&P 500 using our market factor rules. So just take a minute, look at the chart. I'll show you in a minute where they are. But for now, aggressive long, so when you would go long if you were being aggressive, when you would go long if you were being more conservative, and when you would go short if you were being aggressive, and when you would go short if you were being more conservative. So everybody ponder that chart and just try to guess at the time. I'll highlight the candles where those things happen, and I'll tell you the times, but for now, just try to visualize what candle it is and guess at the time. Give that up for another 10 seconds, and then we'll go to the next part of the quiz. Actually, we'll give the answers for that part of the quiz first. I am recording this so that you can review it later. I think it's important to make sure everyone understands this. All right, so let's review the answer first. So aggressive longs occur when there's a downward trend line break, but not with a rising bottom. And so we had the downward trend line break at 952, and there was no rising bottom. So aggressive long, 952 onward. Conservative long would be at 1034 because we broke a downward trend line after the formation of a rising bottom. So 1034 for conservative long. Conservative short at 1122 when the upward trend line was broken, and we can say conservative because there was a falling top. So shorts are worth taking after 1122. We then had an aggressive long at 1226 because it broke the downward trend line, but there was no rising bottom. We then had a conservative short at 1252 when the upward trend line was broken from a falling top. We had an aggressive long at 110, and that lasted for 2 minutes. And then we went back to short, although it was aggressive short, let's use this candle, at 116, and then conservative short at 142. So our most recent signal on the short side is at 142, and that's conservative. And we have stayed short until 312 when there is an aggressive long, and that is still in place. All right, now again, I did this on video so that you'll be able to go back and pay a little more attention to that more slowly. Next thing I want to do is I'm going to show you the top 5 winners and losers, and I want you guys to pick out those that look okay or worth considering, and those that do not. And don't worry about market factor when you do that. So I'm going to switch screens to this screen here. All right, so you should see my other screen now. And I'm going to look at the biggest winners and the biggest losers. So here's the first one. And where necessary, I will sort of zoom in on how it looked. So your first one here is PRFT. And I'll slide this back to how it looked at the time of the entry candle, if I can. So that was our entry candle right there. You can give it a rating if you want. I'll give it a rating after I've gone through it with you. That's PRFT. Next up is BA, Boeing, which was getting the grilling from the Senate in the US today. And there is your action candle there at 148. Next one is TRNX. And we'll slide back on this one. TRNX was right there. And next one is IRWD. Sorry, I'll slide this back and I'm just going to refresh my list in a second here. So that's IRWD. And again, the exercise that's maybe helpful is to give it a rating out of 10, which is what we try to do each day. I'm going to give you my ratings as soon as we're done. Actually, I think I'll just go through the top 5 winners, long and short. I'm not going to worry about the losers today. I just had to clean up my screens. Okay, so have we done 5? Let's do one more. VSH. VSH right here. So give that your rating out of 10. All right, now let's do the top performing shorts. First up is BTU. It triggered right here. It's almost impossible to tell. Sorry, it's so squished. Let me see if I can blow this up a little bit so it's a little bit easier to see, but even that's tough to see. But just leave it like that. And next up is SKT. So I'll show the other time frames as well. There's SKT. Next up, BTU. Or I did this one already. Sorry, they jump around on my list, so it's hard to keep it straight sometimes. All right, SLCA. That was your breakdown there. And let's try OGI. Now, OGI is, yeah, it's actually okay. It's about $3. I was going to say it's too cheap to short, but it's actually okay. Okay, so there's OGI. And then the last one is Grubhub. Okay, so there you go. So now I'm going to go back through them and hopefully I don't miss any here. So PRFT, I would give PRFT a 7. It's been trading sideways. I was ramping up a little bit into that, but pretty much stuck in the sideways range. 13-minute breaking through resistance, and not a huge up day yesterday. Volume came in on that candle, so it was pretty good. TRNX on the 2-minute, that's how it looked. I love it. Nice, boring trading, getting some action. On the 13, maybe a little bit of resistance to fight with, so I'd give it a 6.5. Daily was free of resistance, so I like that. You could argue that it's breaking the downward trend line, so it's borderline 7. Next up is IRWD. IRWD, you can see surprising the market, nothing going on, gets alive, abnormal volume, no resistance on the 13, no resistance on the daily, so that's a 7, maybe even better. Boeing, BA. Boeing, nice cup and handle pattern. Not a ton of resistance on the 13, a little bit from these highs over here, but it was above the downward trend line. Daily's good. Plus, it's a company that was in the news. They were on CNBC all day doing testimonies to the Senate. Now, again, my orders changed, so I just got to make sure I don't miss one. VSH, I think, was one of the ones I talked about. And VSH, when you look at that, you think, yeah, it looks pretty good. But when I look at the daily, I see that yesterday was a big up day already. And so I don't love that. I'd give it a 6. It is more abnormal than yesterday, so that's okay, but it doesn't really look like it's more abnormal when you look at the 2. So I think I would give that a 6. I think I got them all. Did I do TRNX? Yeah, we did that. I don't remember if I missed any. Let me know if I missed any. Okay, so that's a little quiz. Oh, let's do our shorts. Sorry, I forgot about those. BTU. BTU I would not consider to be great. Already down a ton, so that was not good. SKT. SKT's okay. It was already down quite a bit, and this isn't really like it's still above support on the 2. So it's kind of a flag breakdown. I'd give that a 6. They're not my ideal setup. SLCA, that one's good. Gap's down, abnormal volume, paused after the gap, tried to sort of make a little bounce back, which is what often happens. And then it broke down a few candles later. So I like that. Give that a 7. Gaps don't matter so much on shorts, so don't worry about the size of gaps on shorts. OGI, this was also pretty good. It had kind of been falling yesterday, but when I look at the daily, I don't see a ton of weakness. Yeah, you know what? I'm going to change my mind. I don't really like how that candle looks. It's not significant enough, and it was already into a downward trend. So I'm going to give that a 6. And Grub was big gap down. Again, the candle looks so short because it's the size of the gap. But, essentially it's, again, the gaps don't matter so much with shorts. Stock is in bad shape. And so I think it's worth considering as a short. Somebody else had said earlier that CGC was nice. I agreed on it. I'll just bring that one up. It's our 6th best performer. So a nice short setup on CGC, breaking this upward move on the daily, but in a long-term downward trend. So that's kind of perfect. Head and shoulders top, all the things I talked about this morning, and that has made 3.8. So hopefully that's useful. Again, I did record this. I'll send you the recording.